There are moments in life when the silence around us becomes deafening, when the questions inside us echo so loudly that we can't escape them, and among the hardest of those questions is this: why am I even alive? It's not a question of despair alone. It's a cry from the soul, a whisper of exhaustion, a plea for meaning. Many of us have asked it, not because we are weak, but because we have been strong for far too long. I've asked it too. When someone asks, why am I even alive? It's easy to assume it's a question rooted in defeat, despair, or hopelessness, but hidden within that painful question lies something far more powerful: awakening. That question is not the end of the road. In fact, it's the beginning of a deeper journey. It signals that somewhere deep inside you are still searching, still reaching for meaning, and that search is proof of life. If you were truly done, if there was nothing left inside you, you wouldn't ask the question at all. The act of questioning shows that a part of you still believes there might be an answer, that there's something out there worth discovering. It is in our darkest moments that the loudest questions rise. Life sometimes feels like a long stretch of suffering, rejection, and confusion. We lose people, we lose ourselves, and in those moments of loss, we wonder what the point of it all is. We look in the mirror and don't recognize the face staring back. We look at our lives and see disappointment instead of progress, pain instead of peace. The world becomes a blur, and that's when the question creeps in quietly, but insistently: why am I even here? But the question itself is not a curse. It is a spark. It means we are awake enough to feel. It means our soul is not numb. It means we are brave enough to wrestle with meaning, even when nothing makes sense. Some people go their entire lives without asking the big questions. They distract themselves with noise, routine, and superficial living. But those who ask, why am I even alive, are the ones who are confronting life head on. And that takes courage. To question your existence is to stand at the threshold of transformation. It means the life you're living no longer feels like it fits. It's tight, suffocating, uncomfortable. And the discomfort is calling you to grow, to change, to expand beyond the walls you've been placed in, by others, by circumstance, or even by yourself. This question is often the soul's way of saying, there's more, there has to be more, and the truth is, there is. This is the moment when you begin to dig deeper, when you stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. You begin to search for truth in places you never thought to look, within your pain, your past, your passions, and even your silence. The question, painful as it is, strips away illusions. It makes you honest, it makes you real, and sometimes being real is the first step toward healing. The journey that follows this question isn't always immediate or obvious. You won't wake up the next morning with all the answers, but you might wake up with a little more awareness, a little more fire, a little more determination to find something worth living for, not for others, but for yourself. The moment you ask, why am I even alive, is the moment your soul is calling you to rise, to explore not just what life has done to you, but what you can now do with your life. So, instead of fearing the question, embrace it. Let it challenge you, let it soften you, let it break open parts of you that have long been shut down. Because once you start asking that question with honesty and courage, you begin a journey that can lead not just to answers, but to purpose, passion, and peace. And in that way, the question becomes a gift, a doorway, a new beginning. Pain is something we all encounter. It doesn't discriminate between age, status, or background. It comes in many forms: grief, heartbreak, failure, loneliness, rejection. And when it hits, it can feel like the world stops turning. In those moments, we often feel like we are the only ones drowning, while everyone else is floating through life effortlessly. But the truth is, every single person you pass by is carrying a story. Some wear their pain on their sleeves, others bury it behind forced smiles and practiced laughter, but no one is untouched by it. The presence of pain in your life does not mean you are broken beyond repair. It does not mean you are weak. It means you are alive. To feel pain is to feel the depth of your existence. It means your heart is capable of deep emotion, that you have the capacity to care, to love, to hope. And with that capacity comes the risk of being hurt. But what a beautiful thing it is to care so deeply that life can move you, shake you, even shatter you. It's easy to believe that everyone else has it easier, that no one else struggles the way you do. But that is an illusion. People carry their pain differently. Some mask it with humor, others with work, some with silence. But behind every quiet pause, every tired eye, every long sigh, there's a story. A loss, a disappointment, a wound. Knowing this doesn't make your own pain lighter, but it does remind you that you are not alone. You are not the only one walking this road. In our lowest moments, we often question our strength. We wonder if we're weak for crying, for falling apart, for needing time to heal. But those moments of vulnerability are not signs of failure. They are proof that you are human, that your heart, though bruised, is still beating. There is no shame in feeling deeply. There is no weakness in admitting that you are not okay. In fact, it takes strength to confront your pain instead of running from it. The process of healing is not quick, and it's not linear. Some days you may feel like you're making progress, like the weight is finally lifting. Then, without warning, a memory, a word, or a quiet moment can bring the pain rushing back. That doesn't mean you're back at the beginning. It means healing is happening quietly beneath the surface. Every time you choose to face the pain instead of avoid it, you are taking one more step toward freedom. Pain also has a strange way of teaching us things we might never have learned otherwise. It strips away the unnecessary, the superficial. It shows us who we really are and what truly matters. It deepens our empathy, sharpens our understanding, and forces us to see the world with new eyes. People who have suffered often have the softest hearts. They know how to listen, how to comfort, how to stand beside someone without trying to fix them, because they've been there, and sometimes that shared understanding is more healing than any advice could ever be. So when pain visits your life, don't see it as punishment. See it as part of your story, not the whole story, but an important chapter. It doesn't define you, but it does shape you. And in time, with patience and grace, the same pain that once brought you to your knees can become the foundation of your strength. You are not alone in your suffering. You are not broken beyond repair. You are simply living the full spectrum of what it means to be human, and that in itself is a kind of quiet courage. There will be days when you feel invisible, like your existence doesn't matter, like everything you do goes unnoticed, and no part of your life holds significance. In those moments, it becomes easy to believe that you're just moving through life without purpose. But that belief is a lie. The truth is, your life has meaning beyond your current struggles. Even when you can't see it, even when it feels like all you're doing is surviving, your existence carries weight in the world. Sometimes we measure our worth based on success, recognition, or comparison. We look at what others are achieving, how far they've come, how confident they appear, and we shrink. We think that unless we have something big to show for our lives, we don't matter. But your value isn't tied to the size of your accomplishments. It's tied to the quiet impact you make simply by being who you are, by enduring, by showing up despite everything. You may not realize it, but someone out there is inspired by your strength. Someone is watching you navigate your pain and learning how to carry their own. You might not be aware of it, but your story, the way you've overcome, the way you keep going, is helping someone else believe that they can too, and that in itself is purpose, that is meaning. Life is not always about grand gestures or life-changing moments. Sometimes it's about the seemingly small things, the kind word you said when you were hurting, the way you listened when someone needed to talk, the simple fact that you keep trying even when it feels impossible. These are not small. These are acts of quiet bravery. These are the threads that hold humanity together. Every time you choose kindness over bitterness, love over anger, or hope over despair, you are planting seeds in the lives of those around you, even if you never see them grow. And perhaps one day someone will say they found light in a place you once stood. Maybe your story will be the reason someone else doesn't give up. It's easy to forget your impact when you're in pain. It's hard to see your value when you're stuck in survival mode, but you are more than the things that hurt you. You are more than the emptiness you sometimes feel. You are more than the battles you've fought, and more than the ones you're still fighting. Your presence in this world means something. Think of the people you've met who have shaped your life without even knowing it. Maybe it was a teacher, a friend, a stranger who said something kind on a day you were breaking inside. They may never know what they gave you, but they gave it anyway. You are that person for someone else. You may already have been, or you may be becoming it. Either way, your life has power beyond what you can currently comprehend. You don't need to wait until your life looks perfect to matter. You don't need to be healed to be helpful. You don't need to be at your strongest to make a difference. Sometimes the most meaningful things we do happen in the midst of our greatest pain. Your story is still unfolding, and the pages filled with struggle are no less valuable than the ones filled with triumph. You are alive for a reason. You may not know exactly what that reason is yet. But keep living, keep searching, keep showing up, because someone somewhere needs what only you can offer, and that is more than enough. We live in a world that celebrates strength, resilience, and success. Social media is filled with images of people who appear to have it all together, smiling, thriving, achieving, and somewhere in the middle of it all, we begin to believe that we must always be strong too. That showing vulnerability, shedding tears, or admitting we are struggling somehow makes us less. But that belief is not only false, it's harmful. The truth is, your worth has nothing to do with appearing strong all the time. Real strength often looks like showing up even when you feel like falling apart. We are taught to associate strength with invincibility, but strength is not the absence of pain or difficulty. It's the quiet decision to continue despite them. You don't have to be the loudest, the most confident, or the most put-together person in the room to be strong. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who wake up and face another day with a heart that's still healing. Sometimes it's the person who continues to care, to hope, and to believe, even when the world has given them every reason not to. There is courage in admitting, "I'm not okay." There is bravery in asking for help, in slowing down, in giving yourself grace. Too often, we wear masks because we're afraid of what others might think if they saw the truth behind our eyes. But real connection, real healing, comes not from pretending we're fine, but from being honest about where we really are. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength in its most honest form. Every time you get out of bed despite the heaviness in your chest, that's strength. Every time you face your fears, confront your doubts, or hold space for your own pain, that's strength. It's not glamorous. It doesn't always look like victory, but it matters. It's proof that you are choosing life even when it doesn't feel easy. We often look at others and assume they are stronger because they seem unshaken. But comparison is a thief. It steals your peace and blinds you to your own resilience. Your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. The fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still trying, is already a testament to your strength. You may not be where you want to be, but you are not where you once were, and that is something worth recognizing. The world doesn't need you to be unbreakable. It needs you to be real. It needs you to be someone who feels deeply, loves openly, and shows others that it's okay to struggle. Because by doing so, you give others permission to do the same. Your story, in all its rawness and imperfection, becomes a bridge for someone else to cross their own pain. Being strong doesn't mean never falling. It means rising again. It means choosing to keep walking through the storm, even when you can't see the way out. It means holding on to hope with trembling hands, and even on the days when you can't rise tall, even when all you can do is whisper, "I'm still here," that is strength too. So let go of the pressure to be perfect. Let go of the idea that you have to hide your pain to prove your worth. You are already enough just as you are. You don't have to earn your value through toughness or constant positivity. The fact that you're still fighting, still feeling, still growing, that is more than enough. And in that quiet, persistent courage, you are showing the world what true strength really is. Healing doesn't always look the way we expect it to. It's not a straight path with a clear destination. It's messy, unpredictable, and often invisible to the outside world. We imagine healing as this grand transformation, like one day we'll wake up lighter, happier, whole. But in truth, healing is often quiet. It's slow. It happens in moments so small we might not even notice them until we look back and realize how far we've come. Growth rarely announces itself. It happens silently, beneath the surface, while we are still hurting, still doubting, still unsure. There are days when it feels like nothing is changing. You're still tired, still triggered, still haunted by memories you wish you could forget, and you might wonder if you're healing at all, but you are. Because healing isn't just about feeling better. It's about becoming more aware. It's about learning how to sit with your pain instead of running from it. It's about beginning to understand your own emotions, recognizing your own patterns, and slowly building the strength to respond instead of react. You might not notice the moment when the weight on your chest becomes a little lighter. You might not remember exactly when the tears became less frequent, or when your laughter stopped sounding forced, but those moments are there. They are the quiet signs that healing is happening. They live in the pauses, in the breath you take before reacting, in the choice to rest instead of push, in the decision to set a boundary you once would have ignored. Growth is not loud. It doesn't always look like major breakthroughs or emotional breakthroughs. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed when you don't feel like it. Sometimes it's replying to a message, cooking yourself a meal, or simply choosing to stay when all you want to do is give up. These aren't small victories. They're powerful acts of reclaiming your life one moment at a time. You are not failing just because you're still hurting. Healing doesn't erase pain. It teaches you how to carry it differently. You may always carry parts of what hurt you, but you won't always carry it in the same way. Over time, what once felt like an unbearable weight will become something you understand, something that doesn't define you, something that no longer controls you. We often want quick fixes. We want to be over it, to feel free, to move on. But deep healing doesn't come from pretending everything is fine. It comes from acknowledging the wounds even when they're uncomfortable. It comes from giving yourself time, from extending grace to the person you were when you were just trying to survive. Real growth asks for patience. It asks you to keep showing up, even on the days when nothing feels different. And maybe the most powerful thing about silent healing is that you won't always recognize its impact until someone else does. One day someone will say you seem different, and you'll realize they're right, not because everything is perfect now, but because you've changed. Because you've grown into someone who understands your worth a little more, who protects your peace more fiercely, who has learned how to breathe even in the middle of a storm. So don't dismiss the slow days, the quiet ones, the ones where you feel like you're stuck. That's often where the real work is being done. Healing isn't always visible, but it is always valuable. Trust the process. Even if you can't see it yet, you are becoming something stronger, wiser, and more whole than you were before. And that journey, no matter how quiet, is deeply, profoundly beautiful. You are still becoming. No matter what stage of life you're in, no matter how broken or lost you may feel right now, your story isn't finished. There's something deeply comforting in knowing that you don't have to have it all figured out yet. Life is not a race to perfection or a competition for who heals fastest, achieves the most, or appears the strongest. It's a constant unfolding, a process of becoming more of who you were always meant to be. It's easy to believe that by a certain age or after a certain experience, you should have arrived somewhere, you should be healed. You should be successful, you should be whole, but the truth is, becoming never really ends. Life keeps stretching you, shaping you, teaching you, and sometimes breaking you open so you can grow in ways you never imagined. And that's not failure, that's life doing its work. There are parts of you that haven't even awakened yet, dreams you haven't dreamed, strengths you haven't discovered, resilience you haven't had to call upon. Just because today feels heavy or uncertain doesn't mean tomorrow won't be full of clarity and purpose. The version of you that you're becoming is already growing inside of you, slowly, quietly, piece by piece, through every challenge you face, through every act of courage, no matter how small. It's important to remember that who you are right now is not your final form. The pain you feel today, the confusion, the fear, they are not the end of your story. They are chapters, and chapters change. The very fact that you're still here, still breathing, still wondering about your place in the world means that there is more to come, more to give, more to feel, more to experience. You are not stuck. You are in the middle of becoming. Sometimes we look at others and think they have everything figured out, and we use that illusion to shame ourselves for where we are. But everyone is still becoming. Everyone is still learning, still healing, still discovering who they are in different seasons of life. Life is not a straight path, it's a spiral. You return to lessons again and again, each time with a little more wisdom, a little more understanding. And even when you feel like you're going backwards, you're still moving forward in ways that matter. Don't underestimate the beauty of slow transformation. The strength you're building now, the self-awareness you're developing, the compassion you're learning to show yourself, all of that is part of your becoming. It may not be loud or visible to the world, but it's real. And one day, you'll look back and realize just how much you've grown, not because everything became perfect, but because you stayed true to your process. There is no timeline for becoming. You're allowed to take your time. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to fall and rise again as many times as it takes. There is no shame in growing slowly, in taking the long road, in learning the hard way. What matters is that you don't stop. What matters is that you give yourself permission to evolve, not into someone else, but into a truer version of yourself. So if you feel lost right now, if you feel like you're not enough or like you haven't accomplished what you should have by now, remind yourself, you are still becoming. The story isn't over. You are a work in progress, and that is a beautiful, powerful place to be. Keep going, keep growing. You are not behind. You are on your way. In the end, life is not about having all the answers or reaching a perfect destination. It's about the journey of becoming. Your pain, your healing, your quiet acts of strength all matter. Even in moments of doubt, you are growing in ways you can't yet see. You are not alone, not forgotten, and certainly not without purpose. Every breath, every step, every choice to keep going is proof of your courage. You are still becoming, and that is more than enough. So hold on, because your story is still unfolding, and the chapters yet to come may be the most beautiful of all.